Hello everybody, welcome to Crystal Key. I'm Crystal.
I'm Dan.
And if you were to ask us a month ago what our favorite smartphone camera was, we would probably say the Nexus 6P, iPhone 6s Plus, and the Galaxy S6.
But Samsung just released the Galaxy S7 and kind of totally reinvented their camera. It has less megapixels now, but the megapixels themselves are larger to hopefully create better images. So now our favorite cameras might be different.
If you saw a review of the Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge, you probably have an idea of how the camera is. But like we said, you can't really get a true representation of how good it is until you compare it to other smartphone cameras. So today we're doing a camera comparison between the Galaxy S7, the iPhone 6s Plus, and the Nexus 6P. First, let's take a look at these HDR pictures without any labels. The differences you see here are going to be the theme throughout this comparison for the three phones. Now, which one's your favorite? If you like tinkering with pictures within different photo editing software, you'll probably like number 1 with less contrast and less post-processing sharpening to have more information. That's the iPhone 6s Plus. Now next we have an image with much more contrast. As you can see, we lose some information in the shadows. It's also a lot more vibrant and sharp. And that is the Samsung Galaxy S7. And last, we have the Nexus 6P, which is somewhere in the middle in terms of contrast. It's very vibrant and sharp. Also, this is the best photo in terms of exposure when you take a look at the clouds. And I would say the Nexus 6P is the winner here.
Like Crystal said, what we just saw is going to be the theme with all these photos. So the iPhone always has less contrast. It has less vibrancy, but that helps it look probably the most natural. The Galaxy S7 has a lot more contrast and saturated colors, and it sticks out at you at first glance. But it does lose a lot of detail because of this. And the 6P is always going to be the darker photo because its exposure is crazy good. Nothing is ever overexposed, but remember, these photos were taken with HDR. The S7 does have the most color, and a lot will enjoy that, but some might like the more natural colors of the other two. It's really hard to pick a winner here. They're all great in their own ways. In my personal opinion, I think the 6P looks the best here.
Here, the S7 overexposes pretty badly even with HDR on. And yeah, the colors are nice, but that overexposing really hurts it here. The Nexus 6P is pretty dark, but at least the highlights aren't blown out. I'd say it's a tie between the 6P and the iPhone 6s Plus.
The iPhone 6s Plus is pretty hazy here. This is one example where less contrast doesn't make for a better image. The S7 is very vibrant, it looks beautiful, but its highlights are blown out again. Take a look at the top leaf, along with the sky outside the window. The Nexus 6P exposes better, and you can actually see the blue of the sky, making it a clear winner here, I think.
Here we tried something different by testing how close the cameras can get to an object with it remaining in focus. And there's a clear winner here. The Galaxy S7 can get crazy close to objects, and with that low aperture, you have a beautiful bokeh effect in the background. A big reason for this is the Galaxy S7's Pro mode, which is pretty much a manual mode for the camera, so you can actually manipulate the focus however you want, along with some other things. The iPhone 6s Plus and Nexus 6P do not have a manual mode, and even if you were to download a third-party app, the camera would not be able to focus this close up.
So all the cameras are great in bright areas. Pretty much any flagship phone is going to have a camera that's fantastic in outdoors. These little guys were in such a dark area that me and Crystal could barely see them in real life. But once again, we had HDR on, and the S7 definitely is the brightest of all of them, and it's also the clearest too. When we zoom in, you'll see that extra sharpening going on definitely helps make the image look a lot clearer. The 6P's HDR Plus mode can add too much saturation sometimes, and in really low light areas like this, it ends up hurting the photo. Here's another low light photo that isn't as extreme as the last one, and the 6P actually does a lot better here. There's a lot less noise, and the colors are so much more saturated than the S7, but the S7 still does a pretty good job, and the iPhone just is very dull.
Now let's get into the front-facing camera. Here we can see why everyone, including me, loves the Galaxy selfie camera. It's much more wide-angled. You can see more of my shirt and even that fixture above me where you really can't in the others. And sure, this almost fish-eyed lens makes Dan's face warped and makes him look a little stranger than usual, but that can be fixed with face warp correction within the camera interface. The iPhone actually overexposes a little here, and the 6P is very dark, but you can get so much sky detail with the 6P. When we zoom in, there is no competition here. Even though the iPhone 6s Plus and Galaxy S7 soften my face, which helps hide those imperfections, the 6P has a ton of detail, putting it in a totally different league than the other two.
Here's a selfie in low light. Once again, you can see a lot more on the S7. You can actually see the colorful light fixture behind us, where in the other ones, it's totally gone. The S7 is the softest here, but it is quite bright. The iPhone is the most noisy and dull of the photos. And once again, the 6P looks like we turned on a light or something, but no, this is the same lighting condition. You can easily make out details on our faces, you can see the color of the wall, and even make out detail on Crystal's shirt. It's amazing.
But things get interesting when we turn off HDR for the first time in this video. Suddenly, the Nexus 6P falls apart while the S7 and iPhone 6s Plus stay the same. We keep giving props to the Nexus 6P, but its HDR mode is actually called HDR Plus, which means there's a lot more post-processing going on than just switching two pictures with different exposures together. And that's what makes the Nexus 6P take an extra second or two longer to capture an HDR picture.
4K video is a different animal though. We've been praising the Nexus 6P so far, but in video, it's safe to say, it's pretty bad. It's the worst of the three by far. It's the shakiest of the bunch, as it's the only phone here without optical image stabilization, and it always has trouble trying to pick an exposure, so it jumps around a lot in brightness. The bitrate is pretty low too, allowing for a lot of pixelation to show. The iPhone 6s Plus is the most natural here. It looks beautiful and it's incredibly smooth. The Galaxy S7 has more vibrant colors with extra contrast, so it looks less natural, but the boost in colors do look nice, although it's a little overexposed, so I would say the iPhone 6s Plus has the best video until we get into focus speeds.
Yeah, the Galaxy S7 is the best smartphone camera when it comes to this, hands down. It instantly focuses onto objects without any hesitation. It's awesome.
Yep, and the 6P? I don't even know what happened here, but it didn't even want to try my focus test. The Nexus 6P really doesn't stand a chance when it comes to video.
So overall, we'd say the Nexus 6P is more consistent at taking great photos thanks to its HDR+, although it does take an extra second or two to take the shot. The front-facing camera is by far the best too, even though it's not as wide-angled as the S7. But still, we wouldn't say the 6P is the best all-around camera. It totally falls apart in video mode. There is no manual mode found in the 6P, while the S7 has full manual controls. The S7 can shoot extremely close to objects, and with that low aperture and bokeh effect, you can create some amazing looking shots.
Sure, the Nexus 6P is fantastic in one area, but in the others, like video recording and manual controls, it's pretty bad, while the S7 is consistently very good in every single area.
Of course, if you don't ever want to use manual controls or video recording or get macro shots, the 6P is the better option. But if you want a camera that will do anything you throw at it extremely well, we'd say the Galaxy S7 takes the crown here.
So, what do you guys think? Out of the three cameras you saw here, which is your favorite?
Yeah, please let us know in the comments below. We'll be chatting with you, so don't hesitate.
I'll be shy now.
And that's it. Thanks for watching. As always, you can follow us.
Jeez,
on Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter. And we'll see you later.
Later.